have worked for our party for several years as far as on the Republican Women's Group, serving as a member of the executive committee. So I know a lot of members that are in the party going to the breakfasts, so I have been very involved with my party. As far as favoritism, they can't show favoritism till after the primary, till they have the Republican candidate. And as far as I know, they haven't shown any.
I too have worked in the Republican Party most of my life, going back to probably the second time that I was old enough to vote. I helped hold the polls. You know, there's just always a lot of emotions tied to campaigns, and you just have to rise above it and go forward.
Started in the office in 1987. I went to work for a Democrat. I was associated with the Democratic Party, which I am very proud of. Tom Rollison was a great person, a great teacher. Him and Betty Brewer, and I respect them both today. I decided to run as a Republican because the party and I just had different views and values. The more the Republican Party on the national level than on the local level. The only person that can't really be involved in the politics is the party chairman. He's not supposed to take any sides, he or she, whatever the case may be, when it comes to an election. And me going to them and talking with them to run as a Republican, that they have been supportive and fair. They have discussed the big details of what I will still come up against from different election officials, from different people. And all of that has made me stronger. And I will continue to go forward.
Is it directed at me? Okay.
All you were talking about was what's been yesterday. Today's vote has changed things.
Yeah.
You know it did. You didn't hit on this at all. Somebody's deemed criminally insane. There's about 100 something more beds down at Taylor Park.
115.
115. Okay, they say we can't have him. It's going to be a danger to the community. You can't put him in prison. You can't put him in the jail system to make a danger to them. What do you do?
They'll
It's
just,
going to happen.
yeah, they'll just overcrowd the mental health facility, which, yeah, they haven't named it yet. But whatever, they'll overcrowd it, just like our prisons are overcrowded, and then they won't get the treatment they need. And then they'll,
People will get released that really don't need to be released.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
The
then
way,
they'll be lost.
the way the picture looks today is not the way it's going to end up. I know that from other experiences.
Now, y'all were talking like it was yesterday. Well,
Right.
This is not
Right,
right.
right. But we don't know what it's going to be a month from now. We know what was the action that's been taken this week. But the reality of that announcement this week is going to have some kind of
It'll have a bad impact on the probate judge's office.
And, yeah, and all these
You're all aware of
decisions.
it. I just can't talk about it.
Well, you know, we like, most of us would like the idea of more treatment available. But the reality of life is,
What would you do if you heard the word no, you can't take it? What would you do?
well,
Today.
pick up the phone and try to call somewhere else. I mean, if there is no place to go, there is no place to go.
There will be no place to
Well,
go.
there are,
That's-
you can get
that's
out of state.
The unfortunate thing for both
Yeah.
probate judge and everyone.
I think these other states are having the same problems.
Well, sure.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if there's absolutely nothing available here, then we have to go somewhere to find
Yeah.
something.
And there's laws that protect the rights of mentally ill. They have a right to be treated, and they have a sickness, just like somebody with a heart condition.
I have a right to feel safe in my community.
Absolutely.
Well, that's true
So
too.
I've been fighting.
Right.
The battle's just beginning.
A lot of these things are sometimes just, budget wrangling.
Well, we don't
They're,
know.
they're trying to threaten everybody and make you feel like, oh Lord, the whole world is gonna end, so they can get what they really want to have done. Last year with the court systems, Sue Bell Cobb sent out a notice stating that they were cutting the civil jury dockets in half. They cut the criminal jury docket by a quarter. They closed the clerk's offices on Fridays. They closed the clerk's offices at noon. Any counties that had more than one courthouse, they closed the satellite courthouses. That was a budget issue. And she didn't get what she wanted, and then that got reversed when the new, Chief Justice came in. So it may be something that they're saying, oh, that we're gonna do this now, but then money's gonna suddenly get allocated to something else, and then it's reinstated. But they were gonna close a lot of these facilities anyways, because they were so old, and it was costing more money to keep a patient in one of these institutions than it was providing community-based services, you know. So they were looking at the amount of money they were putting into this institutions was just going up and up and up and up.
But that goes back to his question though, is something about criminally insane.
Yeah.
All those things that get community services, that's, we're not talking about criminals here. We're not talking about forensically insane people. So that is a problem. But I gotta take a leaf out of Philip's book. He said that we need to remember that this is all fluid, that it'll change, and maybe he's right. You know, we should be looking toward the future, maybe that the economy will turn around and we'll get more revenue, and they can start building some more mental hospitals. That's the only thing you can think of.
I didn't read that.
I didn't either.
Working on the commitment that I have, there was one time that I tried to get a veteran committed, and did you know that I called 5 hospitals before you want to take that person? So you don't just, when there's enough evidence presented, and that person poses a harm to himself or to someone else, and the court has ordered them to be committed, you don't just stop there. You do everything you can to get them treatment. Because the people in the community want to feel protected too. But you also have a sick individual with a illness that needs help. They need help.
I have a question for each candidate, or one question that would apply to each of you, and I'd like to see what your response would be. One thing that I haven't heard anything mentioned was the fact that the probate judge can also officiate at marriages. In this world we live in, some states adopt laws that allow for same-sex marriages. Would that pose a conflict for you? And if so, how would you handle it?
Well, it would pose a conflict for me. I'll just go ahead and speak up. And I've not figured out how it happened. I'll just be honest with you about that. But
I mean, this is hypothetical.
right. It's
It is hypothetical, and.
I mean, in Alabama.
And
there
I
are
was gonna say,
states
in
that have
Alabama,
adopted those laws,
we would
but-
have no problem with that, because, you know, our laws would forbid it. We don't, you know, they haven't had a constitutional amendment allowing it, so it really would not come up for us. Or has it?
No,
Judge
I
Lust
said-
has it?
No, I'm saying if
it ever
Alabama
did.
adopted that law and you are the probate judge and someone came to you wanting to be married, I'm just curious.
You're not required to perform a marriage ceremony for anyone. By law, judges are capable and empowered to provide marriage ceremonies, but you are not required to do it. Personally, I would not.
Well, I just thought, and I don't know the
And see, I
law,
didn't
so I'm
know that.
thinking if
That's
the
good to
probate
know.
judge refused, would you be open to lawsuits? I don't know.
Probably, yes. And in other states, those lawsuits have come forward. But the way Alabama law is written, there are certain people that are designated as empowered to provide marriage ceremonies, but as
But we're not required
part of
to.
your job, you are not. Nowhere can anybody come into your office and demand to be married.
It's not me.
Thank you.
so
That's
the
good.
question, so the
That's
question
good to
really
know.
comes back into them buying the marriage license itself.
I have a question. How would you handle a mentally ill person who is violent and like has a history of violence?
Well, the law would guide you to say that person would be open for being committed, because that's one of the criteria. If they indicate that they would harm themselves or others, that is one of the criteria that you use to determine whether or not they're to be committed. And that's kind of what we've been talking about tonight.
What if you got a mental ill person got a drug addiction, but the hospital the hospital you send them to don't help with their drug addiction, so the withdrawals and everything. So what? I don't know what you do with that.
Well, as far as somebody with a drug addiction, you have to look at, is the mental health issue causing the drug addiction, or is the drug addiction causing the mental health issue? if they're gonna be treated for a mental health issue and they've got a substance abuse problem, then, you know, those can be treated at the same time, but, you know, that's two different programs usually, and they need to work together, because if it's just masking the mental health issues, then the drug issue needs to be taken care of first. If they're just using the drugs to cover it up, you know, as far as withdrawal and such, you know, they need to be, you know, that does need to be treated.
I've been to some hospitals that they don't come with the drug addiction.
Right,
They put nicotine patch on it.
yeah.
Well, then, and that's just like in prisons, they don't really treat mental illness either, like they should, so that's just a problem.
Actually, the prison systems in the state of Alabama have a very hospital beds or more, I believe, than the Department of Mental Health.
For mental illness?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because that's exactly opposite of what I've always heard, is that, you know, a lot of times they commit crimes because they are mentally ill and then they don't get the treatment they
The
need.
prison system has a contract with a management system and actually has something like 750 beds within the state for individuals in prison who are in need of inpatient.
That's good, because I really do
They also
feel like a lot of
provide
them are
outpatient.
mentally ill, and that's why they're there.
That's more than DMH. I didn't know that.
What?
That's more than DMH. That's more than the other
But
current.
those beds are not available to the
Right.
one who's not been convicted of a crime.
Right.
Yeah. And it's sort of a sad statement, if you think about it, that the criminals are getting sent to the penitentiary where they go, oh, by the way, you have a mental health issue, let's take care of that while you're here, as opposed to being able to take care of it out here before they end up in the criminal system.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Criminal system has drug abuse programs too, but it's pretty sad when the district attorney says, no, you don't need to go to rehab, go to the penitentiary, you can get it taken care of there, which I have had them actually say, you know, one time.
Would you throw the book at a repeat offender?
A
To
repeat
keep 'em-
offender with drugs?
No, I mean, they keep on coming in front of you. They don't take the medication, don't apply it.
I don't think we throw the book at them. That's not what we do.
There's
That's
gotta
not
be
what a probate judge does.
some way, you know, if you keep doing the epitome of crazy is doing the exact same thing and expecting different results. So if you're gonna do the exact same thing, you're gonna get the same results, so you try something different. You know, if sending someone here is this, you know, you end up with seeing them again in 3 weeks or whatever, there needs to be some other avenue, there needs to be something else.
And were
can
you
try.
valedictorian of your high school class?
I'm not telling.
Do y'all have any other questions for us?
Well, I have one question.
Because I got 2 boys at home.
I've got a quick question. With the closing of all the state mental hospitals, of the announcement that came out today, history has proven for the ones that has closed in the past that all of those are being sent to community-based care. Not all of those people are surviving in that community-based care. They're passing away, they're going to jail, they're back in hospitals. That is going to put an influx in the probate court system. Are you prepared to handle the influx, and how will you handle that? Because it's gonna happen when all of these facilities are being closed.
There needs to be a way to support people that are indigent, that can't pay for that. I don't know if meeting with the mental health care authority, your county commissioners, I always thought with the probate court system, we need to have a way to, when those people come in, and a lot of those people are not financially capable of coming back to the community and just surviving, that we need to get with all the officials, all the elected officials, and find a way to help, maybe financially support them in some way. And do I have the answers right here outlined? No, I don't. But I think that we need to do that in some way.
And as far as probate judge, you would have no choice but to handle it. You take it on.
That's true. I mean, it's your job to do that. And I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything about mental illness. I don't know about all the procedures. But I will tell you that I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be there and to make sure that people get the help that they need. That's the probate judges, that's what we're supposed to do. So I will do my best.
Your job is gonna be harder.
I think as far as handling, I mean, yes, there's gonna be an increase. And, if it requires coming in earlier, staying later, staying open, you know, a lot later. It doesn't matter because they need the services, they need the help, they need the protection. And, you know, with my conservators and guardians, I was there 24/7. They had my home phone number. They had my cell phone number. If there was a situation where they really needed help, they would call. And it didn't matter what you were doing. You know, there were times when I was sound asleep in the middle of the night and they called and we had to go. And it's just something you have to do. That's the job. It's not a 9 to 4 job like the statute says. You know, the court is only supposed to be open 9 to 4. You know, that's not realistic unless, you know, you're a superwoman and you can do 600 things all at once.
Well, and they call you on weekends and in the middle of the night. I've heard several people say that they've had to call Judge Luss like around midnight, and she's always available. And that's just a part of the job. I don't know what all the answers are to the hypotheticals because I haven't gotten in there. You know, I'd be stupid to say this is what I do. You know, I don't know because every court has been cut. All their budgets have been cut. There will be no money to hire new people to deal with it. So I don't know.
But I think if you look at the money you've got, you can streamline some things and shift. You know, if you work with the employees, I'm sure we can find ways to identify needs and shift people around to cover the increase in certain areas. You know, like there may not be as many elder issues as there are just, you know, mental health issues. If that's the case, then you need to help. You need to shift people over to be able to handle everything. You know, as far as getting them treatment out in the community, that's different. But there needs to be some way to track these individuals, to know where they are, to know, you know, what situation they're in.
No, you guys are putting this forum on, and it's a wonderful thing. And I'm sensing the anxiety in the room over the budget cuts. Can I answer your question in something that we're working on now? Ma'am, you just asked this last question. Can I address your question?
Sure.
Okay. There's something that we've been working on for a while. It's been a joint effort of spearheaded by Chris Van Dyke and Mental Health Care of Coleman. And Chris Van Dyke and I, Ray Judge, and we're also attempting to partner with Coleman Regional Medical Center and USA Healthcare. Chris has had the wonderful idea of trying to get a crisis intervention center. There would be a certain number of beds that we can bring folks to and stabilize them on an emergency basis. CRMC, when Woodland Hills closed, CRMC was not at all prepared to handle the influx of psychiatric patients, but they rose to the challenge, and they've been addressing those needs for some time since Woodland Hills closed. So for that reason, they were extremely eager for us to get this crisis intervention center. Something that I would also like to see formed in our community is a drop-in center. Many of you are familiar with that concept, and it would add additional community support in a more informal setting that would be completely voluntary. Those are some of the things that as probate judge I'm looking at and supporting and seeking some additional funding for. But if we can get this inpatient crisis, you know, it would be a short-term basis. But if and Chris, I can't compliment him.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I can't compliment him enough on the degrees that he's going to try and get this in Coleman, because it's going to be so beneficial to our community. And I support him 100%, and we're both advocating through every channel that we've got. But it's my hope that if we can secure that for our area, that's going to provide a real added benefit. Yes, sir.
What if somebody from Shelby County wants to get involved in your program or something like that?
Let me explain a little bit. This is all in the planning stages, so there's not a lot of specifics I can give, but let me just say that the state hospital's closing down doesn't mean there won't be anything.
Right.
There's gonna be a replacement system put in place of these crisis stabilization units and possibly other facilities that can keep people for a little bit longer term, like the hospital would if they needed to. So there'll be these facilities throughout the state that will serve the same people who would have had to go to the state hospital, and people will actually be committed to these new facilities. So that's the replacement system for the hospital system. It'll be cheaper for the state. It'll save money and keep the community services that keep people stable when they're not needing a hospital in place, you know, keep those from being cut. So that's why all this is happening. But I think all the news has not really highlighted that there will be a replacement system. It's just not fully developed yet. It's all happening very fast. Well, the difference is it will be more efficient. State hospitals, like you mentioned, are old facilities. Some of their processes are old processes. They do things sometimes like they did them in the 60s or 70s and not like they do them now. So the whole system will be more efficient. The employees won't be state employees. They'll be employees of the local mental health centers. So that'll be cheaper for the state as well. So that's kind of where the savings come in.
And, I want to assure you, as your probate judge, I will stretch what we, the probate court will do. You know, I would love to see actually a mental health court developed that operates differently than what we're doing now. And there's a group, we have a mental health, within the Probate Judges Association, we have a mental health committee. And we do serve as advisors for the Alabama Department of Mental Health. So we do have some input there, but I just sensed in the room a feeling of concern and worry about today's announcements and yesterday's announcements and the things that have come out. And I did want to just, before we leave today, I wanted to provide some assurance that these issues are being looked at, and not every elected official, I have contacts on Alabama Supreme Court that are very concerned with the dismantling of our system as we have it, as it's occurring as we speak, without a definite plan for how it's going to be repaired. You know, it seems as though we're starting not just in the middle, but we're starting in the end and working backwards, which government. But I want to assure you that there's more being done than what's being reported on the surface, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the needs are met here in Coleman County. And I have had hearings at midnight. I literally have had hearings at midnight. I've had dangerous people, people that couldn't be cared for in our local hospital without putting the community at risk. And I've had emergency hearings. I've got cell phone numbers for attorneys, and let me tell you, I have contacted attorneys and asked them to go make immediate visits so that I can get the guardian ad litem in place and get that person assessed and get that person's needs addressed and get them representation so that I can get that hearing done quickly and get them to the state hospital. Now, with us, you know, looking at these closures and the limited number of beds, we're going to have to develop a new plan. But I promise you, I'm there. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the individual's needs. I'm thinking about the family's needs, and I'm thinking about the community's needs. I am committed personally and professionally to making sure those needs are met. I assure you of that. And anytime any of you want to come by or give me a call, talk about any of your concerns, I will certainly communicate those to the appropriate committees and the other individuals in the state. I got an email from Supreme Court Justice, Supreme Court Judge Mike Boland today, because I've been active in the aspects of the mental health and the policies the Probate Judges Association is recommending, and he and I are in constant communication about that. And he, even as
a judge sitting on the Supreme Court. He was a former probate judge, and he's very interested in his, and offered his support and any influence that he could have. So we've got advocates in high places in our state government, and we're all going to work together. So anything y'all want to talk with me about after this, or want to call me and speak with me about it, or come by the office, I'll be glad to hear your thoughts and your suggestions, and I'll carry them to the people in places of power. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you very much. It's been very, very informative, and this is the best NAMI meeting that I've been to in years. I've been in NAMI a long time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Just any way you want to do it. Yeah, I'm Melvin Hastings. I'm one of the candidates for circuit judge. I'm a lifelong Republican, lifelong resident of Coleman County. I love Coleman County. Decisions circuit judge makes affects Coleman County. I have kids I raise in Coleman County. And I want you to know I understand and I respect the authority the circuit judge makes. You deal with people, and I know that. And I understand that, and I respect it, and I will not abuse that authority. And I appreciate your support and vote on the 13th. Thank you very much.
I am Patricia McGriff, and I'm running for circuit clerk, second person on the ballot. And I'm proud to say that I am a charter member of the Coleman County Tea Party. I've helped out with many of the rallies. I was here from the beginning. And the first rally we had, there was 1,200 people there. The second rally we had, close to 1,000 there. But, you know, this is a wonderful group here. And, you know, we have meetings once a month, and it would be wonderful to see all of you come to these meetings. But I do appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
My name is Philip Hicks, and I'm a candidate for probate judge of Coleman County. I was the Republican candidate for probate judge in 2000. That was the year Judge Burleson was retiring. Made it through the primary, made it through the runoff, but I lost in Ms. Brewer in the general election. Sat the election out in 06 so I could finish raising my family. And my daughter got married last year, and she's finishing up college. My son, junior at Tuscaloosa, so it was time to get back in. My wife and I have been married for 30 years. I was to say 30 years. I'll tell you, she's at least 40. We've owned our own business for the last 17 years with Mr. Hicks Menswear here in town. We also have served in the public service. We served in a cabinet level position. I was the director of the Alabama Emergency Management Agency for 2 years. I also was administrative assistant to Governor Hunt for 4 years. So I've got public service and I've got private business experience. But I've always known that I wanted to be a probate judge. I've known it since I was a kid. My mother worked in that office, and I know that doesn't make me qualified, but I'm telling you, this is something that I've thought about my whole life, and I would appreciate your vote.
My name is William Porter, and I'm also running for the Circuit Court Judgeship of Place 2. My wife is in the back corner. That's normally where she keeps me, but she's not there just today. My daughter's here, Alexis. She's 14. My wife is from here. I'm not from the local area. I came here and live here, and I've been here for 12 years, and I'm practicing law here for 12 years. I've got 20 years of practicing law. I practiced 9 years in Florida. And I practiced both in federal and state courts. And one of I don't want to sit here and spend too much time other than my main focus that I want to get out is we do need change in the circuit judgeship. We need to speed up things. We need to be concentrate more on just applying the law. And some of the points that I will change and do when I get here will be on my card. And I'm proud of these things. One thing I want to say is not only do I just put down on words, I back it with my deeds. And one of the things on here was we protect our children. We don't take our children away from our parents without a hearing. I fight for that principle, and yesterday got an appeal decision on that exact principle, and I won. And the mother got her child back 10 o'clock today. Thank you. But I do appreciate y'all being here. I ask for your vote. And I can tell you that what you see on this card is what you will get. Thank you.
My name is Annette Irons Parker, and I am a candidate for District Judge Place 2. I am a lifelong resident of Coleman County. I graduated from Hansville High School, and I was a teacher for 15 years in the Coleman County school system. I have pretty much dedicated my life to children and helping children of Coleman County and doing what was right for kids in Coleman County. I am currently on the board for the Child Advocacy Center in Coleman. I'm a former board member of Coleman Caring for Kids. I'm the secretary for the Student Investment Foundation for the Coleman County school system. I'm a lawyer been practicing for 10 years, and the majority of my practice has been spent in the district court helping families. And I believe that our children are our greatest resource. I think that we need to build on that resource and help our children. Sometimes kids come into court and they just need a little extra guidance. It's not that they're bad children, it's that they need some help. Maybe families need help. Maybe there's an underlying drug problem or something of that nature. And I want to be that person that helps them and helps to guide them and does the right thing for our people of Coleman County. So I would appreciate your vote and support on the 13th. Thank you.
I'm Martha Williams, and I am also a candidate for Circuit Judge Place number 2. I've been a lawyer for 30 years. I had private practice for 23 years and then went to the district attorney's office where I've been a prosecutor, mostly for crimes involving child victims. I want to make it clear I had to give up that job in order to run for this position, so I want you all to know that's how serious I am about being your next circuit judge. My cards that are here and available for you will give you an indication of all the experience that I've had, both in the private sector and also in the public sector as a prosecutor. One thing I would want you all to know is that my slogan, fair, honest experience, is not just a slogan. But I think if you, and I invite you to do this, talk to any lawyer that I've worked with, any law enforcement officer that I've worked with, or any judge before whom I have appeared, and they'll tell you that I've earned my reputation for being fair and honest. And I think if you just look at the information on the back of my card, you'll see that I actually have more experience to bring to the bench than any other candidate in this race. So I would humbly ask for your support and also for your vote on March the 13th. Thank y'all.
I'm Steve Smith. I too am running for Circuit Judge of Place 2. I've been a lawyer 25 years. I've been a lawyer, prosecutor, judge. I've done just about everything in the courtroom. I'm by last count, a 5th generation Coleman County resident. I haven't found out what happened, where my great grandmother came from yet, but I'm running for the 6th generation Smiths, which are Maggie and Stella. I want to make Coleman a better place for my daughters. That's where we're going to raise them. That's where we're going to be. Thank you.
Anyone else over in this forum? My name's Steve Link. I'm a candidate for school board representing West Point and Harmony specifically, yet being mindful of all of Coleman County. And the attitude and I care, I'm committed, and I will be consistent if I'm elected. I sure do appreciate you vote and consideration till March 13th.
It's good to see all of y'all. My name is Tammy Brown, and I'm a candidate for probate judge. Dedication, fair treatment, and devotion to the office is what I have to strive for and continue to strive to do. I'm thankful that I was given the opportunity in 1987 to go to work in the office and learn all the job duties. I've also worked in various management positions, probate office manager and probate chief clerk. I'm the only candidate running that has on-the-job training and hands-on experience in every department. Assisting the people of this county is the prime goal of the probate judge, and I will continue to go the extra mile for you. I'm married to Frankie Brown. For 30 years, we live in the Simcoe community. We have one son who's 29, one daughter who's 26, one granddaughter who is 8, and today's her birthday, and she wanted me to tell everybody. So I just ask for your prayers, your support, and your vote on March 13th. Thank you.
Nobody else on that side? I'm in the middle. Been a privilege to serve Coleman County for the past 3.5 years, running again for re-election, and everything goes well. We've got a lot of plans down the road with the city, especially this past year has been just phenomenally successful as far as industry is concerned. We've kept cash valve in Coleman, almost lost them. They were going to Pinson because they couldn't find anything in Coleman to move into. They thought they wanted one big building. And we got together with the city, hired some folks, persuaded them that no, you really want 2 buildings. You know, one for manufacturing and one for warehousing and shipment. They bought it, they stayed in Coleman, added about 40 jobs to it. Now they're looking for another expansion. Topre the same way, $110 million expansion. A lot of stuff has got to get done. We promised them years ago we was going to get that interchange down here on 222 done. Congressman Holt got me $5 million, and we've spent that on it. All we like now is just the surveying and then the on and off ramps, and we'll be in operation. We promised Topre that. And then based on that, they're ready for another expansion on top of that if we get this thing through. And Congressman Holt, who I stay in contact with a lot, the governor, bend his ear every chance I get down there, Senator Busman, Mack, Jeremy, and all them, they know how important that is down there for us to get that thing done. And that will bring in additional industry then in jobs in Coleman County. So I think I've done my homework. I think I've done my job pretty good. And ask for you for another 4 years, effective March 13th. Thank you.
Anyone else over here?
Okay, I'm Linda Willingham Parrish. I'm seeking the office of Circuit Clerk. Lifelong resident of Coleman County. Joe and Violet Willingham were my parents. We always get to which ones are you. And my experience is work. I have worked and I'll work again. I can do anything from sweep the floor to take the garbage out. It doesn't bother me. Answer the phone, do the wages, fill out the bookwork. Let's go for it. So I just feel like with my people skills and my ability to run an office, I have a lot of office as circuit clerk. So thank you. Appreciate your prayers, your support, and your vote.
Okay. So know of any other? Don't start over in this area.
My name is Jamie Luker Troutman. I'm a candidate for circuit clerk. I currently work at the Coleman Economic Development Office. I've been there for almost 12 years now. We recruit industry, bring jobs to Coleman. I deal with legal matters and work with our delegation on a regular basis, and I compile massive amounts of facts and figures and confidential information on extremely tight deadlines. So that's what I do now. I've always been interested in the office of circuit clerk, and it plays such an important role in our system, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to be able to make a difference in my community and in people's lives. I have 3 priorities in my campaign, and they are accountability, which will go along with fiscal responsibility, customer service, and then I want to create a website for the clerk's office. Almost every county in Alabama has one, and Coleman doesn't, so I want to establish that for the public's use. So I just want to tell you that I'll go to work every day, and I'll do the best possible job that I can for the citizens of Coleman County. And I ask for your vote in March.
I'm Kenneth Walker. I'm running for chairman of the Coleman County Commission. I got 30 years of experience in business and road building, water systems, budgeting. I believe in a reserve to operate on. And I just want to ask y'all for your prayers, support, and vote on March 13th. Thank y'all.
I'm Bridget Porter, and I am a Republican candidate for probate judge. I have the experience, the education, and the work ethic to serve you well. I have over 12 years of experience working in the legal field dealing with probate issues. I have been a managing legal assistant, and I have a paralegal degree. And I bring to you work ethic. I am a hard worker, have always worked, and I will be there every day and be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. I ask for a chance
a chance to serve you well, and I've got brochures with my number on it. So if you have any questions, feel free to call me anytime. Thank you.
I'm Rusty Turner. I currently serve as your district judge. I have 16 years of legal experience practicing not only in this district attorney's office, but as a private attorney. I'm the only candidate that has represented both the state of Alabama plaintiffs and defendants in the district court. I have been serving as your district court judge since May of last year. When you couple or add that time together with this full term that this term that I will finish out, and you add that with the 6 years of legal or judging experience I have with the city of Coleman, I'm going to have over 7.5 years as a judge to offer you as an experience. Carry on for another full term of 6 years. I love what I do. I do it every day. Steve pointed out his daughters who are here today. And I do this because I want to raise my family here. I want to make it a safe and a great place to live. And it is, and I want to keep it that way. And I appreciate your prayers, support, and your vote on March 13th.
Hi, I'm Ann Cersei Vanderman, and I am the only candidate on the probate judge with a law degree. And unfortunately, I also have no voice today because we've been campaigning so much. My son tells me to keep it brief because I have a tendency, like most attorneys, to talk way too much. And, you know, one thing you need to remember is an election is essentially a job interview. And we would normally in a job interview be sending you resumes. Unfortunately, instead of doing that, we have to campaign. And one way you know you're not a good politician yet is when you go up to somebody at breakfast, you still feel like you're being rude when you ask them, can I give you some literature? So we're still working on that. I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a probate judge. We have been working hard to be out and meet everybody. Unfortunately, with such a large county, it's kind of difficult. Before doing anything with legal education, I had 25 years in the real business world of managing employees, managing offices, working customer service with real people. Then I decided I needed to do something a little bit more once we moved here. We've had, you know, I don't know how many generations have lived here because we can only go past like the Civil War where courthouses were burned before we start losing track of all our ancestors. But we've lived here since the 90s, and when we moved here, I decided to go back to Wallace to earn a paralegal degree. And while I was at Wallace, I found out that paralegals aren't allowed to do several things. You know, they're not allowed to set fees, they're not allowed to represent clients, they're not allowed to give legal advice. And those were things that I wanted to do. So I went on and I went to Athens, to where I earned a bachelor's degree, and then on to law school. Once I graduated law school, I came back here to work, and I've worked here in Coleman solely for the last 5 years as attorney. Plus, I also opened my own business. So essentially, I've been doing the jobs that a probate judge would do in the private sector. And when you remember this position, it's extremely important. If you were going in for life-changing surgery, and you had a choice between the doctor to perform the surgery or the nurse to perform the surgery, who would you choose? Also, would it make a difference if they were the same price? So I would like you to remember that, and that on March 13th, I hope you will hire me as your probate judge. Thank you.
I'm glad we finally had a casual one. Does anybody need any help with their paperwork? I've become a pro at it now, so. I'm Jerry Parker, I'm running for chairman of the Coleman County Commission, and I'd appreciate you voting.
I'm Emily Deezer Johnson, and I'm running for Circuit Judge, Place 2. I'm here tonight with my husband Noah. We have 2 daughters, Mary Charles, who's 6, and Elizabeth, who's 22 months. When I finished law school, I stayed in Birmingham and worked for some large firms, one of which kept me on the road, it seemed like 24 hours a day, traveling all over the state of Alabama. I was in the circuit courts, and I've appeared in over 70% of the circuit courts, which is a good thing because I've seen a lot of great things that circuit judges are doing out there, and I've seen some not so good things. But what I hope is to bring all the good things back to the circuit judge's office here in Coleman. I'd like to have the opportunity to work with Judge Nicholas to make the circuit court system the absolute very best it can be. So I would just really appreciate your prayers, your consideration, and your vote.
Hello, I'm Lisa Parker McSwain. I'm a candidate for the circuit clerk position. I married to Steve McSwain. We've been married for 25 years. We have 2 children and a granddaughter. And this is the first political position that I've ever pursued. And the reason I decided to do that was when Robert Bates decided to retire, I have over 19 years experience in the court system. And working in the court system, I know firsthand the importance of that position. And I realized that I could do that job. And I have a working relationship with the staff, with Robert Bates, with the judges, and I know what goes on in those offices, both the circuit and the district clerk's office. I'm in those offices every day. I know exactly what needs to be done. Not only that, but I also have, I'm a graduate from the police academy. So when I was working as an investigator, I was filing the paperwork for arrest, for search warrants, and then when I worked for the Department of Human Resources, I was filing petitions for 72-hour hearings, and I participated in all those. And I know the ins and outs of every one of those jobs that goes on in the court system. And I just feel like that someone with the experience, training, and education that I have needs to be in that position. And I feel like that I would do a great job in that position, and I will work very, very hard. I've worked my entire life, and I will be there, and I've worked in public positions, and I will be there to serve the public as I have for the past almost 20 years, but 20 years. Before that, I was with Walmart, so you got to work with the public when you work with Walmart, so I know all about serving the public, and I just want to do the job for the citizens of Coleman County. Thank y'all.
And I'm sorry, I guess I kind of got out of order. Where I was, I couldn't decide which side of the ring I was on. So I was right in the middle. My name is Leah Patterson Lust, and I'm Coleman County's current probate judge. I heard from several probate judge candidates tonight, and I want you to know that serving God and the people of Coleman County for the last 5 years and 2 months has been the biggest honor of my life. I am from the Jones Chapel community. My parents are Pat and Carol Patterson. Went to Jones Chapel Junior High School and on to West Point High School, and finished there. Got an associate's degree from Wallace State, and then I went to the University of Alabama and received my bachelor's and my master's degree in social work. I am a human service professional. The thing that gives my life value is serving the public, serving the people of Coleman County. As we all know, the economy's been tight over the last several years. With each year, I have experienced budget cuts in the probate office. Each and every year, I have come in under budget. Not just overall, but I have not gone over budget on any single line item. I am working right now with fewer employees than Tom Burleson had back in the 1980s. And we have 3 annex offices. I've worked hard to provide the biggest and best service to the people of Coleman County from the Coleman County Probate Office. I'm doing more with less because that's what's required. That's what we have to do. I will not be on the ballot in March. One of the many responsibilities of the probate judge is a very diverse position. One of the many responsibilities is being the chief election official. I will not be on the ballot in March, and we are expecting a runoff. We have, as you've seen tonight, we've got several circuit judge candidates and several probate judge candidates, so there will definitely be a runoff. The runoff will be April the 24th, and then the general election is November 6th. My name will not appear on the ballot until November 6th, and I sure would appreciate it if you would remember Leah Patterson Lust and mark that name as your probate judge candidate. Thank you so very much for your
Ms. Lust, make sure that date does appear forward. We expect the great grandbaby first.
Oh, okay, I will make sure. Now, as far as the going into labor part, the best I can do for you on that's pray. because, no control there. But I promise you that all that election will be on those days that are scheduled. And many of you, as I look around the room, I see some folks that might even be potential poll workers. So if I give you a call, please don't turn me down. We always need good folks to work the polls. But I humbly ask for your consideration and vote. Thank you.
You're my new hero. You are so brave. You get up front all these
Well, at least you aren't y'all all Republicans? I didn't know. I mean, it seems like the Tea Party is a universal. We are, and we're all accepted. And I want to tell y'all, Miss Nan invited me. She is the chairman of, I'm sure y'all all know, chairman of the Board of Registrars. And she invited me to come, and I want to thank you for that invitation. And it's my honor to be here and meet. I already know some of you folks, but those that I didn't know, it's been an honor tonight to meet you, and thank you for that opportunity. And thank you, Tea Party, for putting this on. This is great thing.
Don't do it again.
Amen, sister.
Did we miss anyone that has not introduced themselves?
Well, I'm Greg Nicholas. I'm Circuit Judge Place 1. I'm not going to be on the ballot either.
You will be in November.
Yes, sir. I will be in November, so I would appreciate your vote. You know, Mickey Mouse always gets a few votes, so I'm going to need something when you go into the polls. So yeah, just think about me if you would. Keep all these candidates in your prayers. It's difficult when you're out campaigning. Many of you have campaigns. Y'all know how difficult it is. But I do look forward to eventually working with the winner, both the circuit clerk winner as well as the circuit judge winner. And we're going to do everything we can to make our court system the system that will be the envy of everyone else in the state. I know there's a lot of good ideas that will be forthcoming, so we're looking forward to November. Thank you all.
Anyone else?
I need to make an announcement if I can. All you candidates, listen, March the 2nd, I'm hosting with Eva Lions Club a old stump speech style candidate forum. So it'll be in Eva, but like you know, the Eva is a multi-county place. So all of you come out and make sure you campaign well, because our club is split between Coleman and Morgan County individuals. So all of the Hamish Chapel and that area is all that comes out for that way. So March the 2nd, Friday night, we'll be more than glad to have you out there. So I wanted to make that announcement.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
We start.
All right. I think Keith's got something to say here right quick.
Okay, like I was talking earlier, we'll have a little fun. We made up some straw vote ballots.
Barbecue.
And I think I have about 100 of them.
I'll take 20.
What we would like for you to do, we're trying to raise a little bit of money for the BFW. We're trying to do a little bit of fundraising. So if you can see it in your heart and pocketbook, $5 donation for a ballot would be highly appreciated. Don't be saying I'm selling ballots.
And don't tell nobody I do that either.
We do that in March. So if you would like to participate in the straw vote, let me know. I'll give you a ballot and work your heart and we'll vote them up. Or if I get going, see who's most straw vote.
That's all we have. Y'all enjoy yourselves.
Like you said, I'm Ann Cersei Vanneman. I am the only candidate with a law degree running for probate judge. And I'm essentially here for the job interview. Because you have to remember, elections are a job interview. You're going to be hiring somebody who we as taxpayers are going to be paying for 6 years. You're essentially taking applications when you're listening to all of us come around through and say our little piece. The probate judge job is a position that can impact your lives in a lot of different ways. It can impact your children's inheritance. It can impact your property. It can impact your elderly parents. It can impact your liberty. It can impact your licenses.
And it can even impact your elections, now that they have the responsibility for certifying election results. So it impacts your lives in a lot of different ways. You have to forgive me. I'm not a professional at this. This is my first time running for anything, so I get a little nervous sometimes. But like I said, I'm the only one that actually has a law degree. And you may wonder why a law degree is essential. Basically, the requirements right now for a probate judge is you have to be over the age of 18, you have to be a resident for a year and a citizen for a day, and that's it. You know, all of you in here could be qualified to be probate judge, but you know, you need to look at it, you want to get your money's worth. You have, there's 4 other candidates also running for probate, and everyone brings their own qualifications to the table. That's part of your job as far as deciding who you want to vote for. I look at it like you need to put as much research into it as if you were hiring a babysitter for your children. You know, you would call references and you would look at backgrounds, and you wouldn't just go for the first person you meet or the first person that sounds good. So I totally expect that you'll all want to know more about me. I have a website, andforprobate.com. It's on the little magnet. And, you know, it explains all about me. And, you know, I want it to be said up front that I respect the job that paralegals do. You know, as far as me having a law degree, the next most educated individual has a paralegal degree. And I respect the job paralegals do. And actually, when I went back to college, that's what I wanted to be. I had worked for 20 plus years in the real business world before starting back to school. And my classmates used to tease me about being a recycled student because I'd already had a career before I went back. But as I was going through the paralegal program, I found out there's a lot of things paralegals can't do by law. They can't set fees. They can't represent clients in court, and they can't give legal advice. They can't even say, well, if it were me, I would do this, because they could be charged with the crime of the unauthorized practice of law, which is a misdemeanor charge. So going through that, I realized I didn't want to just draft documents, and I didn't want to just answer phones. I wanted to make the critical decisions. I wanted to represent people in court, and I wanted to give legal advice to people. So after I was done with the paralegal program, I went to Athens State University on a Pell Grant to earn a bachelor's degree in justice studies and political science. After that, I went on to law school at Cumberland, which is in Birmingham. And when I graduated and passed the bar, I came back to Coleman, which is where I always wanted to practice. And you know, so I've been an attorney in Coleman, and I've opened my own business in Coleman. And you know, it's been a wonderful job, you know, and I believe that I can bring real-world business experience to the position, and I believe I can save money that could hopefully be used to pave y'all's roads from the streets department, or can be used towards the sheriffs. You were talking about neighborhood watches, but you know, Sheriff Rainey and I have talked about this, that there's a lot of things that are shouldered onto the sheriff that don't need to be, that could be handled by the probate judge. If you have a mentally handicapped individual who can't pay their bills, and they need somebody, and they say they're on disability, if no one steps up to volunteer, it just gets shoved off onto the sheriff. And the sheriff is having to use his budget to go and set up checking accounts for these people and have one of his people sit there writing checks for them to pay their bills. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather the sheriff be patrolling and protecting us, you know, with his money, because he's got limited funds. There's 2 different things that the probate judge can do, but they're not doing currently. There's a statute which allows a county conservator, which is someone that's their job, is to pay their bills. And then there is another one which is set up through mental health, which allows the creation of a nonprofit corporation to take care of this. You know, I mean, the way I look at it is any way we can save money in that office and not cut jobs and still be efficient, it's worth doing because it can be put back into the general fund some other way. Also, it's like I analogy of if you had to have life-changing surgery and you had to choose between the doctor to perform the surgery or the nurse to perform the surgery, who would you choose? And if it was the exact same price either way, would that make any difference? You know, if there was no cost savings to take the nurse, you would take the doctor. So, you know, like I said, I'm Ann Cersei Vanneman, and I'm running for probate judge. And on March 13th, I hope you will hire me for the position. So, if you have any questions, you know, we'll be here, and I've got flyers if you want them. But thank you for letting me speak.
I got one question.
Sure.
So you trying to tell me all this time you've been a probate judge, ain't nobody had no degree in law? Next question, how did they let that happen?
Well, actually, probate judge is one of the oldest positions in the state because it's in the Constitution of Alabama. And when they were originally writing it back then, they didn't have a whole lot of attorneys. You know, so basically they had it set up so that just a regular layperson could be probate judge. And, you know, and down south when they're in some of the counties that are very sparsely populated, they have one judge which actually handles 3 counties. So they don't have that many attorneys to fill them. But the trend is towards attorney probate judges. Right now there's about 25% of the counties have them. And there's another benefit to that as far as time and cost savings. The counties that have probate judges with law degrees, there's a bill that's been passed for each county that allows them to handle matters that would normally have to be removed to go to circuit court. You know, so if you're sitting in probate court and you have something going on and it's got to go upstairs to circuit court, you know, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you know, and it's causing more heartache because it's taking that long to get it done. This bill actually gives the probate judge the authority to handle it just like the circuit court judge would. So it can be handled efficiently by only one judge, and that's the probate judge. But that's only in situations where the probate judge, you know, also has a law degree. But that's the number one question I get asked when meeting people is, you mean you don't have to have a law degree? And I tell them, I said, you know, I think it would help, but, you know.
Okay, got another question. I'm full of questions sometimes. I said, another question. You said something about mental health and the sheriff department is writing the right checks. I said, now, let me get my thoughts right. On this phone, you said that the county got it for different things, but how can they put that money in there and then they use the right checks to help somebody else out?
Well, no. It's like if say someone's on disability, you know, and they get their disability check. Well, the sheriff has to become the payee on that check. So the check comes to the sheriff, their disability check, and then he has to put it in their checking account and write bills off their disability check. It's like if you were handling your parents' checking. You know, you say your mom can't write her own bills anymore, then you become payee on her check, and then you pay her bills for her. That's what the sheriff's having to do.
Okay. This might have been in your ballpark, but this about mental health people.
Yes.
All right. And Coven ain't got no mental health place no more, right? They closed that Woodland Hospital down.